Right, let's fit the side box section into that spring hanger. It's the last piece that needs to be welded to the spring hanger, and it forms the side here. I want to put the metal plate in there. So here's one I made earlier. This is the plate we've done. Cut out all the holes. You saw it earlier, I think. And that's all being painted up as the side with that's all primed properly in the centre of the panel and on the edges. It's just done with weld through copper primer. So I'm going to clip all this up to the side, and then we'll start welding. So I'm going to put you on time lapse while I clip this up. Well, it's just as well we don't time lapse for that. She didn't hear all the swearing. Right, okay, let's get the welder in and we'll get this welded up. Right, so today we're off to MGBHIVE in Wisbeach to get some parts for the MGB. It's a 3.5 hour drive. I'm not going to film all of it, obviously. Let's see how we get on. It's always the case that when you come to buy parts off, scrap cars, the ones that the parts are coming off are always better than the one you're actually repairing. Every time. Just take a moment to program the sat nav now. Well, as predicted, ended up spending a little bit more money than I thought we would. My accountant also raised the spending of, well, I won't tell you how much, but it was well worth it. We did really well for the spares. And when we get home, I'll show you all the bits and pieces that we got. Interesting now, I was speaking to, I think it was Nigel. When you read anything about MGBHIVE on either Facebook or on the net, they say that the staff are really helpful. And they could not possibly be nicer. They're lovely. Anyway, I was talking to a guy with a beard. I think his name was Nigel. Anyway, what I haven't shown you on my car, to digress a little bit, is that it's got a Brightag sunroof, or it's got some of a Brightag sunroof. If you've ever restored an MGB, and it's got one of these sunroofs in, if it's rusty, it's rusty, and all of the formers on this thing were absolutely wrecked. It literally looked like it had been left on the deck of the Titanic, and the only way you could see the shape of what used to be there was marks in the vinyl, really. So completely useless. It's got a few of the catches are still left on it, but as far as being a sunroof, a couple of bits of the frame are there, but none of the formers are there. All the mild steel stuff's all rotted out. So now that's all come out, which I haven't shown you yet, but I will be. We did film it. And the idea was either to spend £300 or £400 having a sunroof put in. Don't know if I'm not bothered about having a sunroof. Other option was to make a hatch out of a roof from another car, which could drop in and out. And the other option was to put a complete roof on. And as I've been going on with the project, I'm thinking I'm really not that bothered about having an aperture in the roof and a sunroof anyway. So I was leaning towards putting a complete roof on the thing. Not something I've ever done before. Cut back to talking to Nigel at MGBHIVE. And he basically allayed my fears about warping the car, because there's apparently a fair old structure underneath the skinning that you can actually see on the outside. So the roof that I bought is a complete roof down into about halfway down the quarter posts, the A posts and the rear C posts, I think it'd be, or D posts or whatever they are. They run down the back door. So I've actually got a complete roof panel as it was fitted at the factory, plus a few bits added on, so about 6 inches more than I need. And he was telling me where to cut, where to drill out the spot wells. The old roof will come straight off the car, which is quite rusty anyway, so it saved me a job there. And then a complete new roof that I've already got can go on, and it's actually not that complicated a job. It looks big, and when I film it, it will look quite drastic. But from how he described it, the main structure of the car is actually still there. You don't take that off, and he showed me where to be careful, where to cut to a certain depth, and not to go through the structure of the roof of the car. And then I'll just weld on this new roof, which you already have. I haven't shown you yet, but I do have it, and it's actually very good. It's better than the roof that's on the car. Never mind the fact the one on the car's got a great big hole where the sunroof used to be. It's actually covered in filler, the one that's on the car, so it means I don't have to do that. This new roof, while having been painted and messed about with, is not knackered in any way. Also spoke to you about a lot of other bits and pieces, and I decided to buy, well actually I'll show you when we get home the other bits and pieces I've decided to buy. My experience restoring cars is that you can, if you're doing a concourse car, then you want to restore the parts that are actually on the car if you can, because they're absolutely original to the car, and you rebuild and you refurbish brake cylinders and things. But this isn't that. It's not going to be a concourse car. So it's the pressure's off really. All I need to do is if I'm rebuilding a system, the braking system for instance, I can actually just put new parts on, and they're not necessarily reproduction parts, but they're not necessarily original parts either, but they're brand new, and it's easy. It's basically a no-brainer. You just fit a brand new part where the old part used to be, and I'll probably sell the old parts from the car to somebody who's doing a concourse restoration, so they get a source of spares, I get a new part. I'm really just interested that the brakes work, you know, and brakes work as they should. So someone else can have the benefits of the original parts. I'm really not too worried. Anyway, I'll show you all those parts when we get home, and I'll tell you more about the future of the project as well. Well, for now, there's another 3 hours driving to do, so yeah, onwards. Jesus, I'm gonna have to stop doing that. Right, so something a little bit different today. I'm going to do a little bit of an unboxing. You saw from the video we took yesterday. I went to the MGBHIVE in Wisbeach. Very, very nice people. I'll talk about them as I'm working through all these bits and pieces. Also, there's some bits and pieces we didn't get from yesterday, but I do need to put into store in here, in the second garage, or third garage, whichever one it is. And I'll give you a hint of what's to come for the MG. Yeah, there's a lot to get through, but I thought it'd make a bit of a difference from, or a bit of a change from welding, even though there's a little bit of welding at the beginning of this. Right, onwards, let's get started. So, first thing we have is we have two window seals, front windscreen rubber, rear windscreen rubber. They may well be the other way around, but they are both windscreen rubbers. What else have we got here? We have, there we go. Okay, we've got two door aperture rubbers. That's these. Really good quality, these. They're excellent. Again, you don't want ones that are like stupid, really daft stiff. Now there's one piece which is a two-part seal, and that's for the rear hatch. There's this one, which is really nice and soft. You can see a lot of, it's quite grey compared to the other ones. I think that's just the release material that they put into the mould, but it's actually nice and soft, and it's important for the rear hatch, particularly on this one, because it's not going to be the original rear hatch. It's not going to be heavy like the original. It's going to be a fiberglass one. Now the heavy one would compress quite a stiff seal. Obviously the fiberglass one won't, so it's all going to be down to loading the thing and the catch. So if this was really, really stiff, you'd probably find that the rear hatch will bulge a bit, which obviously you don't want. But there's things you can do, you know, if it's a bit stiff. There's we'll look at that anyway when I put the seals on. So there's one part and two parts for the rear hatch. And then we have, here we go, we've got the rear quarter light seals. Okay, and there's one, two of those. Now for the front quarter lights, I've actually got two new quarter lights for the car. Sadly, the ones that's on the car, someone has tried to break into the car and they've bent the chrome on one of them and cracked the edge off the window on another one. So basically went to a scrapyard that was breaking some MGs and got two really, really nice ones. So the old ones will probably go on eBay. They are restorable, but for the price I paid for the replacement ones, it's not worth bothering. Anyway, so new rubbers for that. There's one. You see the shape of that, it's actually correct. and 2. Also, and from the bottom of the box we've got these, which go along the tops of the doors. Effectively, what they do is they form a seal between the window and the top of the door. So you've got a metal insert there, and yeah, as the window goes up and down, basically just gives it a wipe. But main function is to keep the water from going down into the door as much as you can. Do they work? Probably not. But yeah, new ones anyway. The old ones are a bit crusty. And there's 2 of them. There being 2 front doors. Also at the top of that window, there's 2 small rubber seals, which the window channel goes into. That's 1 and 2. So for now, that's pretty much it for the rubber seals. So I'm going to bag all this lot up. We'll make a note what each one actually is, and put them in a box, and then we'll get on to the rest of the bits and pieces. Right, now on to something a bit more interesting, I suppose. Obviously I'm not making a concourse car, so it doesn't have to be massively original. As you've seen on some of my other videos, I'm also restoring an E-Type Jaguar, and that does have to be absolutely spot on, which is why it's taking so long. It's got to be original, it's got to be exactly as it came out of the factory. Well, the MG is not going to be as it came out of the factory. 1, it's going to have a lot less rust on it than it had when it came out of the factory. And 2, I'm not really constrained by having to buy everything to be absolutely original on concourse. Now in that, obviously I'm going to be replacing the brakes, or repairing the brakes anyway. And I've got 2 choices. Either I can restore the master cylinders, what I'm going to be talking about is this. I can restore the master cylinders from the car and have it absolutely original, again not really my priority, or I can save a whole lot of time, probably a whole lot of heartache, and make it safer just by buying new replacement parts, which don't exactly match the look or anything of the original car, but they're brand new and they save me a whole load of time. And as I say, the look of the master cylinders is probably the bottom of my list. So that's what we've got here. I've got this one's a brake master cylinder. There we go. I'm going to leave this sealed in the bag because it's actually heat sealed. Master cylinder and reservoir. There we go. And this is the old style, because my car seems to have been a crossover in 1976. So the exhaust is from the newer style. Obviously the bumpers are rubber bumpers. They're the newer style. And these are it's the older style. So that's to replace that. It's from an older car, or from an older spec car. So that's the brake master cylinder. And while I'm there, for the price of it, I might as well replace the clutch master cylinder. Now yes, I could take the old ones, which are actually working perfectly, by the way. You'll see in some old photographs, I'll put them up somewhere through the restoration, you'll see the fluid that actually came out of the braking system, and it was like black engine oil. It was horrible. It obviously hadn't been changed for God knows how long. It was obviously full of water and black muck and everything from the degrading seals, which is why it goes black. It's the degrading black seals in the system. So it would have needed new seals, God knows what else, and at least a day's work to refurbish both of these, or both of the old ones, which I'll show you in a second. So again, that's why I went for new. I'll just show you the difference between the new and the old ones. Okay, so start off with the brake master cylinder. That's this one. The original brake master cylinder from the car I've got here. And as I said, if I was building a concourse car, then this actually wouldn't be too bad. It was functioning okay on the car. You know, it's just some surface rust on it, which will clean off really, really well. But you can see, obviously, this rubber on the outside has started to split. Fair enough, no big deal. Yeah, I think that would come up really, really well. And it was actually functioning perfectly well on the car. Neither of these were removed because they weren't working. They were removed to get at the bulkhead to do some welding. And it's just in the meantime I've decided to put new ones on. So, as I say, if I was going for a concourse look, original car, I would be using these. I think they're fine for refurb. But it's just a no-brainer for me. Job done. And the same for the clutch reservoir master cylinder. You can see, again, this worked perfectly well. There we go. It's sweating a little bit, but that's only because it's just some oil on it from when I took it out. And it was working perfectly well. And again, if I was looking to make it absolutely concourse, then I would use this. But again, you can see the rubber there starting to perish, so chances are the rubber inside's perished. Why take the chance? Bolt this on, job done, looks nice, works perfectly well. Right, so that's it. That's why I've got new master cylinders reservoirs. These will be going on eBay, by the way. I'll probably flog these to somebody that needs them. And I'd be quite happy to sell that to someone for a refurb, it not being knackered. Okay, some of the other bits and pieces we picked up yesterday. We've got a new windscreen washer filler bottle. The one that's on the car is like the newest style. I say newest style, it's 40 odd years old now. It's like a plastic bag, which is crap, effectively. It's gone all crusty. Don't particularly like the look of it. I do like the look of this, not original to the car. Almost seems like it's a mission now to make things non-original on this thing. But yeah, it's from an earlier car, which is quite nice. It's all marked up with Lucas, which looks quite good. It's got a nice stainless steel holder on it. So we'll mount that wherever it would have been mounted on the older cars. That's quite nice. Put this to one side. We have, what else have we got? Ah, okay. Obviously I'm going to be working on the front suspension at some stage, so I bought a bag of these. Here we go. A while back, actually, when I first got the car, I bought a complete rebuild kit for the front and the back for the suspension and the brakes. But I'm going to go through those when the time comes, and I'll show you those bits and pieces. This is something that wasn't included. It's just the rubber pads which go between the subframe and the body of the car, because I'm going to drop the front suspension to work on it, which is much easier. And there's a lot of it going to be replaced anyway. I'm going to keep it as the, I think the Armstrong lever arm struts. I'm just going to keep it original. You know, I'm not going to modify that, at least not for now anyway. So that's what they are. I've got a bag of them. What else have we got in our box? Tricks. Okay, well, we're renewing a lot of the, well, all of the fluid lines from the front to the back of the car. The hydraulic brake lines are going to be renewed, completely replaced, as is the fuel line, which is a brass pipe which goes from the petrol tank, which I'll get onto in a minute, from the petrol tank to the engine bay, and then from there you spare off that to go to the carburetors, obviously. Well, here we've got the retaining clips, which are the metal bars, and we've got the rubber separators which go along the floor, the underneath of the floor of the car. And as I say, in that you get probably a couple of brake lines and the fuel line as well. The ones on the car aren't too bad. I've only taken one off, but it's just about starting to go a bit gooey because there's some oil on it, calcium, and these would need refurbishing on the car. So by the time I've made them all, you know, there's a day's work to make all these and paint them and all the rest of it. I might even paint these as well. But for £1.50, £2, £3 each, it saved me a day's work. So why would you not? They're not expensive. Now everything else I've got, I'll show you that last. That's not interesting. Everything else I've got in this box is actually to do with one of the big pieces I bought yesterday. So I'll show you the big piece we bought yesterday, and then I'll show you all the bits and pieces that go on it. Right, here it is. 10 out of 10. If you guessed that this is going to be a petrol tank, go to the top of the class. Yeah, petrol tank. So the one that came out of the car, which I'll put some film in. I'll go and film it for you. It's not that bad. However, some of the seams are starting to open. It's been swilled with sealer inside at some stage, and people don't do that for nothing. It's a little bit pitted on the top. As I say, if this was a car where it was difficult to get spares, then I would probably have rebuilt it, you know, pressure tested it. It certainly wasn't leaking as far as I know, but the petrol where it comes out of the tank, which goes through the center on this one, that was all rusty as hell. The sender itself was rusted in. Again, rescuable, just, but for what this cost, why would you take the chance? You know, now I know I've got a brand new tank. I'll give you a closer look and I'll talk about some of the features on this tank. It's quite interesting. Okay, well, apart from the fact that it's brand new, I like the fact that it's made in Canada. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's put together really quite nicely. It looks like pretty good quality to me. It doesn't look too bad at all. Obviously not rusty, which is better. And this tank has got something that the old tank I don't think had anyway, in that it's galvanized. Now, basically, hopefully that will stop it from rusting in the future. And had I bought just a mild steel tank that wasn't galvanised, I was going to paint it. This one I'm going to paint as well. Why am I going to paint it? Well, it's going to look all manky, and just in case the galvanising has failed in a couple of spots, I think it's well worth painting. It will also look a lot better, and it will withstand the paint chips better. So why would I buy a galvanised tank and paint it? Well, when they galvanise these, they not only galvanise the outside, and I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to see, but I'll do this anyway. If you could see in there, you'll be able to see that they galvanise the inside. Now, obviously I'm not going to paint the inside, but I think that's an absolutely brilliant advantage. So I've got a fully galvanised petrol tank, gas tank for those that are watching this in the States. And yeah, so hopefully it should never give me any problems in the future. I'm pretty much replacing most of the fuel system. It's had a new fuel pump on it at some stage. It's an aftermarket one, but as I say, it's not going to be concourse. It doesn't have to be the original, just a matching one which will provide enough fuel pressure for the system to operate well. Right, so as well as this, if I'm going to replace the petrol tank, strangely enough, and quite surprisingly, okay, so we've got the fuel sender unit, and this does two things. One, it feeds the fuel from the tank into the fuel pump, and from there on it goes to the engine bay, into the carburetors. It also feeds the electrical signal which goes to the fuel gauge. So, to pick up the fuel, through the filter, down the pipe, and out through the centre of the sender. Some of these tanks, the pipe comes straight off the back of the tank, but on this one it's a later one, I think, comes through the centre of the sender. And also as well, it sends a signal to the petrol gauge to show the level of the fuel. The more fuel we put into the tank, the higher this floats, it being a float. So it'll float to the top, go down to the bottom when the fuel is depleted. There's a potentiometer in there, which is basically just a variable resistor. So as the float moves, changes the resistance of the variable resistor here. The varying voltage comes out through here and then onwards towards the fuel gauge, and that reads it just like an electrical signal, like an electrical meter. And that's a new fuel sender. Right, something else I've got for this is a pair of headlamp covers, and this kind of differentiates the Sebring cars from the non-Sebring cars. It's a classic look, so couldn't really not get them. There we go. So we've got the clear headlamp covers, which are really quite nice. I've got some twist locks which will which I'm going to use to fix these to the car. Also, they come with just one of these for each one. Separate these. They seem to be really well joined together. There we go. So you'd have one of these, and you'd have one of the curved ones as well. So the edge of this will slot underneath the gap left on one of these, and we just use twist clips to keep the rest of it on. You can actually use screws to keep these on the car, but I don't really want to do that. I want to be able to take them off and clean them at will, so I'm just using some twist locks. And that's it. Onwards. Just as a close-up of these, some of these come with I'm trying to think which way around they go. That way. Some of them come with a bulge on the side, if you're going to keep the silver trimmers on the side of the car. I'm not going to do that. But just to give you a closer look, the moulding of these are really quite good. They're not bad at all. And the brackets to hold them on are just light aluminium. So a good clean, a scuff and a little bit of paint, and they'll be perfect. Or maybe even leave them silver, I don't know yet. Maybe just leave them silver and then lacquer them with some glisten PC, some clear POR. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see when we fit them. Okay, last but by no means least, spare grill for the front. I already have a new grill to go on it, but it has the mesh instead of these blades. I quite like the look of these blades. The grill that I've already bought is much better than this one. This has got a few dinks in it, which again I don't really mind. It's an old car, so I don't mind the odd dinks, but this is all quite rusty. The new one is much better, but as I say, it has the plastic grill insert here with the mesh, and I prefer this one. So what I'll more than likely do is take the insert out of this, put it in the other one, and make one really nice one out of the two. They really just fit in with some rivets, so changing those is no big deal. And we got the look that we want. Really couldn't turn this down. 20 quid, you cannot argue with 20 quid. It's absolutely spot on. And as I say, even if I was building an original car, I certainly wouldn't mind it a few dinks in the grille. You know, it's only where it's been hit by stones. It's how the life has the car. It's not a brand new car. I quite like cars that show their age. Right, that's it. That's all the parts I bought yesterday. So that's it now, really, for the unboxing. Next time it's going to be back to some welding. I'll finish off that wheel arch, which time of filming this is actually finished. I just got to edit the footage up to show you. And then we'll start on the rear boot floor, possibly painting some of the underneath as we work our way off to the passenger side. Also, as well, in the next video, I'll probably give you a bit of footage of what I've done before I started filming. So I'll show you the progress I've made with the front right-hand floor and the sails all down the right-hand side. That's it. More next time. Onwards.